morning, viewers. Good morning, viewers. Let me see. I think we're having a little glitch there. Good morning, viewers. You are welcome to News Echoes.
You're muted. You're muted. Unmute yourself, please. Godwin, you're muted.
Okay, let's see.
Okay. We can hear you now.
Can you hear me now? Oh, I'm sorry for that. Sorry, viewers. You're welcome. Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, viewers around the world. You're welcome to News Echoes, World Affairs, this beautiful Friday. Problem here, George. It's something I don't know. I think the studio will work on that. So, but anyway, well, with me is George Chuku from Toronto, Canada. George, welcome to World Affairs.
Good morning, my Godwin. Good morning, viewers from around the world. We welcome you to our show today. It's going to be a fantastic one. So let's proceed.
Thank you very much, George. George, please pardon my technical problem here. Whenever we go on live, there is this audio thing we experience, but we know you'll be settled soon. And I think you can hear me well now. You can hear me.
Yes.
Good. George, you're welcome. And you're looking good this morning. Thank you. So, viewers, you are welcome. This is News Echoes, World Affairs. Before we go into the main discussion, George, we have some updates, some small newspaper headlines. First of all, let us say this. It's important we say this, George. As long as the Yoruba nation leader has been freed, it's wise that the federal government frees also IPOB leader Kanu, Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu should be released, George. We are joining other voices. We're joining the Southeasterners. We're joining every well-meaning Nigeria to say, please, federal government, release Nnamdi Kanu. You can't, I mean, they were almost in the same level as in agitation and fighting for the cause, you know. So you can't treat Peter in a separate way and treat Paul in a separate way. It's the same thing. So both of them should be released. So we, News Echoes, Schengen Story New Media, News Echo, we're saying federal government release Nnamdi Kanu. Look at what the court has said, the judiciary has said, and free him. Thank you very much. George, also making some headlines this morning. Not too far away from me here is a country called Sweden. And Sweden this morning fined a young girl. There's this young girl, you probably hear her name, Greta Thunberg. Greta Thunberg she's an activist, she's a Swedish climate activist. And this morning she was fined some amount of money, about 4,500 Swedish crown, for disobeying some police order that ordered her to pay fine. The police have ordered her to pay fine because she's not supposed to be in some places. They've stopped her from being in some protests, in some outings. So Greta is on that fine. So this came in this morning to our studio. Also, a little bit of update of the Hamas-Israel situation. First of all, let us say that there are too many fake videos flying around on the Hamas-Israel conflict. Too many videos are putting out false narrative, false story. We want to advise our viewers to get news on this Hamas-Israel situation from trusted source. Trusted source. Verify your news. Don't be carried away. People are mixing up things. People are jamming, doctoring videos, bringing videos that has nothing to do with this and putting it out for their own crazy reasons. So be careful what you're watching, what you're following up on the Hamas-Israel conflict. A trusted source like us, I mean, we're doing our best to give you verified news. So on that note, we want to give a little of the update on the Hamas, Israel-Hamas war that is raging on. First of all, note that there is so much humanitarian crisis arising from this situation. People are at risk of starvation, people are at risk of sickness, diseases, and so many things now because more than 1,000 more people have been killed so far, like we've heard, and a lot of people are being displaced. 425,000 people have been displaced, as the United Nations has claimed. Israel is still maintaining its bombardment on the Gaza, and the Hamas group also are killing. So a lot is happening there. This whole thing, like we said, will result to so much humanitarian consequence. So this is it for some of the headlines we're getting on today's News Echo World Affairs, because today we're looking into the world news. George, what will you say about the small headlines before we go into the main discussion?
Well, we're seeing chaos around the world, the sign of the times. So the little young lady who is protesting that was fined some money, the girl is getting it's like a thorn in the flesh to the international community in a climate situation, So they say that they're fining her for disobeying the law or some of the restrictions that are given to her. And I'm not quite sure why this little girl, why they are finding her, but I believe that she's representing the voiceless in certain issues that the world is not paying attention to. But anyway, in the Hamas situation, there is so much humanitarian disasters taking place. And, some news are called, thank God that Dr. Ibe is here. Awesome. Wow. Yeah, man. Dr. Ibe, welcome. It's a very, very welcome face this morning.
Yes.
All the way from Russia.
All the way from Russia. Yes, let's welcome Dr. Ibe all the way from Russia. Dr. Ibe, you're welcome to News Echo this Friday, 13th. We're looking into the global news affairs, and you are right on time to bring some of your own views and takes from your corner. You're welcome.
Yeah, so like I was saying before, the Hamas issue is very, very, it's a very sad issue. So many atrocities that took place, children, infants being beheaded, and all those type of things is so sad. It is very, very sad. And right now there's a level of retaliation taking place. And but one of the things that I was saying actually is how this thing escaped the intelligence of most of the more very prominent intelligent communities like US and even Israel, and then they were able to orchestrate and put this type of things together. But the inhuman acts is something that I am completely against, especially with the innocent little children that are being killed and beheaded, and then the old women that are being killed and using their own phones to take pictures and send it to their social media. It's very inhuman. I have never seen such a thing before. But anyway, so that's where we are today in regards to some of the headlines that we have. Let me give Dr. Ibe opportunity to speak on that too.
Yes, Dr. Ibe, did you hear the some of the headlines of the news before we go into our discussion for today? We said some of the headlines has it that number one, we will also try to make put our own voice on the Nnamdi Kanu release the request that we're all saying now. And one of the reasons we're saying it is because the other man from the Yoruba nation
Sunny
the
Boho.
yeah, Sunday Igboho has been released, and these are two people that are almost on the same pair with their movement. So if you've done this to Peter, do same thing to Paul, and let it be balanced, so that it doesn't look like there is some um, some tribal motive behind and what they are doing. So what do you say about that? And also we have the Swedish court that has fined that young girl Greta Thunberg for disobeying some court orders. She's been told not to have to be in protest environment. They say she has been fined 4 times now, and she's still going against the order and organizing protests. So this morning it came in our decks, and they said they find her again. The police is on, and she has a 6 months prison jail sentence if she doesn't stop doing what they said. Also, we gave an update on the Israel-Hamas war that is raging on. We also told our viewers to please be careful of fake videos that are being spread around, and get your news from trusted source like us, like Schengen Story Media. We're doing our best to put out verified news, and we want our viewers to follow, to be careful, because it's now a very crazy thing all over. Everybody's just putting all kinds of fake videos. Some people using it to support the Hamas thing, some other using it to support their Israel plan and all that. So we tell our viewers to please be careful where you're getting your update from. A trusted source would be ideal. Yeah, so there you go. Headlines for today. Godwin, we can't hear you. Your phone is muted.
I still can hear you.
It's okay.
Hello. Can you
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can hear you now.
Okay, very good. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, so so you didn't hear what I said before. I said initially I was backstage listening to Sir George, what Sir George was saying before I came in. It seemed more like an executive summary than a question, but I'll try to hit the nail on
No.
the
It's
head one by one.
headlines. It's not.
Headline.
It's not question. I'm just running through some
Ah,
headlines.
okay.
So I'm
Yeah,
saying what are you?
there's no doubt. I want to first of all start by saying I emphatically condemn all acts of violence, all acts of terrorism, all acts of kidnapping and inhuman, deprivative behavior. But you understand that when I say but, I'm not trying to minimize um, the situation, the extremity of the situation, but I'm trying to say that the situation doesn't exist in isolation, and
That's
that there
good.
are so many things that are connected with situation. The first one is the politicization of the event. Sir George rightly said, and I would also have said, it was like he was reading my mind, how intelligence forces, intelligence agencies didn't see that. First of all, before you launch an attack, you have consolidation, you have aggregation of forces, right? For example, you're not going to use one or two or three rockets. You're not going to use 10 or 20 people. You're not even going to use 100. You have over days, first of all, weeks and months of planning, and then days of aggregation before you launch. And then with satellite imagery, US satellite imagery, US intelligence, CIA, Mossad of Israel, they didn't see all of that. Now,
Yes.
could it be they didn't see all of that? Could it be human error, genuine human error, and oversight? Or could it be that the allowance of this event had some political quid pro quo or some political benefit? And which could be, what could it point to, the final extermination of Gaza Strip? You have to understand that you have to be as objective as possible when dealing in geopolitics, and you cannot allow sentiments to take the better part of you. It's a very horrible incident, but it's implausible that no agency saw aggregation of Hamas soldiers. I mean, these are not advanced people. These are you know you know as people describe the Afghanistan people running around in
Ragtag,
you know in sandals, in slippers, sandals, and overall,
Yeah,
not suits or
yeah,
camouflage,
yes, yes.
they all
That's
aggregate, and
mhm,
their venue of launches are usually the same, if it's not a hospital or or underground, the locations are similar.
mhm.
And the movement between the bordering countries who could help are similar. So it raises a lot of questions. And secondly is that the violence didn't start from when Hamas attacked. I've posted on various platforms, which you might have seen some of them, the death toll, the human cost of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's been a lot since 2028. The ratio of Palestinian death to Israeli death is like 6 to 1, right? Or let's say 5 to 1. If we speak about in 2008, in 2009 it was like 20 to 1. In 2020 it was like 3,000 on this side and 61 on the other side. What do we call that? Do we call that, like maybe 30 times more? Yeah, 30 times, conveniently 30 times more on the Gaza side. I mean, losses, the human cost, than on the Israeli side. So cumulatively, you can see that there's been a lot of violence. And anybody saying, I know there are lots of superlatives you can use to describe how horrible this incident is, but then it's hypocrisy to overlook all of those human costs, which sometimes goes on the ratio of 50 to 1, and then all of a sudden go on overdrive because it suits your political narrative. Obviously, that's hypocrisy. So that's why I condemn all sorts of violence, whether it's from the Israeli side, from the Palestinian side, and obviously we continue to push for a two-state solution. This is generally agreed by most of the world, including the United Nations, the Security Council. Everyone agrees that there should be a two-state solution, and this should be an acceptable solution. And we should also understand that there was this Saudi Israel Abraham Accord, which didn't seem too well with the Shiites. And obviously, they would have a vested interest to tumble that peace deal that was not inclusive of their interest. So, and obviously, we notice a pattern. Which is unfortunate, but maybe Sir George can explain. Why, when we have the Democrats, we have wars and wars, and we're always close to the brink of World War III? I just can't understand it. I mean, no matter how much we crucify, I mean, not we, but many people crucify the candidacy of Trump as the president. But the one stark thing is that there's this personal respect among those leaders. They don't just go out and they don't go extreme. They don't say, okay, all bets are off. Like, F off, I don't want to use the explicit word. But they have some element of modus operandi, some personal respect, and then we're not pushed to the brink of World War III. But you find out that every time that we have this, and I really hope that things change. I was also not in support of George Bush when it was his turn to start invading everywhere. Nobody asked him about their sovereignty or any of that. But we understand the Monroe Doctrine, we understand principle of indivisible security, we understand how big geopolitical powers play. And then based on that understanding, we saw it in Libya, we saw it in the rest. We say, okay, this is the way they operate, but obviously we need a lasting solution to this Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
We need a lasting solution to this Israeli-Palestine, but we don't think there will be. It will be a mirage to say there will be a lasting solution, because as long as the situation is the way it is, George, what do you say? As long as the situation is the way it is, it will keep happening. And even the Holy Book, the Bible, says it will be like this until Jesus comes. George, what do you say?
The point is this: whether we like it or not, it will continue. And part of the reason why you see there is a the disparity between when certain things occur, one side is not being, their casualties are more than the Israelis. Is simply because most Palestinians, they use stones to throw, but these are the people, they have weapons. So you can't compare if I bring a stone and you have a sophisticated ammunition and fighting against me. You know, you have more casualty. You know, the balance is not going to be in equilibrium. You know, one is going to be greater than the other. But the point about it is that they are humans, and they're supposed to be respected in spite of whatever the case might be. But categorically, we are condemning this type of attack. I'm not quite sure what the geopolitical reasons there might be why they would overlook, you know, certain things. What I'm seeing is that when Bibi came into power again, there were some moves that he was making, which was not very palatable to a lot of citizens of you know, in that area. So you saw a whole lot of protests, and you know, he wanted to take power away from the judicial system and give it to the government, to give him more autonomy to do things we wanted to do, which was not, there was a lot of protest. And I think this is part of the things that took place, whereby their focus and attention was internal, not external. And then he gave room to some of the things that happened. But watch this though. This was so strategically done that they dug holes and came in from unusual places. So it must have taken months and months of sophisticated planning for them.
That couldn't have been overlooked.
Through the air and all kinds of things, you know. So you know, it's beyond my own comprehension. But right now, all we are praying, because innocent souls are dying on both sides, that we will find some kind of solution to stop the killing of innocent people. If you're going after Hamas and want to annihilate them, that is the one thing. But the casualties are people that are just everyday individuals. Blood is being shed unnecessarily, and that is unacceptable on both sides. And I condemn such acts of violence in any form, shape, or form. So that's where we stand with Shengate News, on my own personal opinion.
Wow, thank you very much.
Sorry, can I just add something very quickly? Let me just add something very, very quickly. 30 seconds. Our president in Russia, President Putin, once said, they gave an analogy that, you know, a mouse, very small mouse or rat is, you know, when you come in, it runs away, you know, you turn on the light, it takes off. But one time in St. Petersburg, he saw a rat in a closet and he chased this rat into a corner. And when he chased the rat into a corner, the rat, not having anywhere else to go, launched an attack on him. Meaning that when you push somebody, his back is on the wall, there's no other reaction than even attacking a lion, that like as if the person is on colors. It's not. So that's just what I wanted to add to this kind of, which kind of explains some of this irrational behavior.
Irrational behavior. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Gentlemen, let's move on. Let's move on. Things are happening. Strong things are also happening. While the Israeli-Palestinian thing is going on, we have also situations that are not too favorable going on around the world. And inside Nigeria, yesterday, we got a big blow. The agitation on seeing the president apologize for what he has done is not working. Rather, they came harder through BBC report. A BBC report said that there is no evidence that the Chicago University academic qualifications of Bola Ahmed Tinubu submitted to the the INEC for the 2023 election was forged. That was what BBC said. This is in their words. The BBC is the British Broadcasting Corporation, a known organization that stands for news, and like we're talking of verifying news. Now BBC is saying that this whole thing, we the Nigerians are shouting over that is not true. No forged document was submitted to INEC from Tinubu, and the Atiku camp came out and said it's unfortunate that BBC is not upholding the same standard as they will uphold in the UK. This was coming from the Tinubu's public communication officer. He lambasted the BBC over its, he said they didn't fast check their report. They said this thing and they didn't even care if people were listening or not. And Nigerians got angry yesterday. We did some background check on this whole thing also. And we found out that the young lady that gave that report Ola Ronke Alo. The young lady that gave that report was also working for TVC. TVC is Bola Ahmed Tinubu's television media home. And so we're looking at all of these things playing behind. George, let me start with you. BBC said the document submitted by Tinubu is not forged, and this is BBC giving us this news. What do you say?
Well, you see the smoke of the bullion money that is still not all distributed, just smelling all over the place. It's very, very unfortunate. It makes me to laugh because, you know, the small experience that I had when I was working with Jonathan during the TAN era, when I was traveling around the world. So the news media was chasing me all over. Every time I came back to Nigeria, they would always want to, get my attention. So I thought I was, that it was okay. They wanted to get facts and, figures from me, but I didn't know. So they came when they come for the interview, and then after giving them the interview, they will stick around. You give them food, you give them drink, and then somebody came and whispered to me, "Oh, they're waiting for you to give them an envelope." And I said, "What is that?" "Oh, this is how they do it, so what you give them will determine the length of your own presentation. This is, so I'm like, what? And fortunately for me, I had a little bit of money with me. But when I gave that money, just to thank them because they were staying too long. So later on, because somebody else gave them a little bit more money, my story was like less than 2 minutes, and their story took about 15 minutes on the news. So that's when I started investigating and found out that money talks when it comes to the media in Nigeria. So this Olorenke,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Everywhere.
Seriously,
everywhere.
No, yes. I am not lying. This is the truth about this whole entire thing. When I read that, I say, see what you, my man, you don't move that underground movements. That's what you're seeing here, bro. Then let me tell you something. It's very, very sad, but you can see that there are no moral codes anymore, no moral standard with, because, some of the things that I'm listening to, some of the newscasters, you see them stand one way one time, and, after a little while, they start deviating, and you can see that same individual that was so balanced in their own views and balanced in their own assertions about things, you see them start sliding. So, there's been a midnight visit, so that's what you're seeing right here. So I see what you kind of, Ghana must go. Ghana must go.
I beg to differ a little bit.
Let me hear from, we have, because of time, let me hear from Dr. Godwin. Dr. Godwin, can you run?
I mean, okay, very quickly. Our current president, he's a resourceful person, and obviously he has the ability to settle resettle. But what I want to talk about is that what BBC, when an editor of BBC publishes something, it's in agreement with editor-in-chief and the policy of the organization, and it is in British interest to support the current status quo and the current contract. He doesn't need any bullion van or any Ghana must go. He's in line. They're in line. They're in line with British interest. And if you're asking about the British corporation allowing such a statement to be made, the question you ask yourself: did British citizens vote their leaders to protect Nigerian interests or to protect British interests? Whose interests are they meant to protect? Are they there to ensure that there is justice in Nigeria, or they are there to ensure that the GDP of Britain increases? So, I mean, the BBC is doing they made the rational choice. If in terms of their interests, it's right. For the TVC person, I didn't know it was a TVC person, but if it is, then the person did the expected thing, the rational thing. Now, another thing is the certificate thing is nauseating a little bit. I mean, Nigerians deserve to know the truth and to get to the bottom of all of it. I've said it multiple times, but will the status quo change? What is the leverage? What do we plan to gain out of this? Is it just to rigmarole for just to say, I told you? What do you want to get? I haven't seen it articulated quite clearly. Does any Nigerian think that President Tinubu will be impeached? There's almost nobody who thinks so. Almost nobody who thinks so. So what is the game? What is the game plan? What are you trying to achieve? I mean, you deserve to know the truth, but what is the game plan? I still don't understand.
Anyway,
okay,
thank you very much.
Okay. Wait a minute.
Let's go. We'll go on a break soon. You want to say something? Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Let's go to break and come back.
Okay. Anyway, the generality of Nigerian yesterday, we're not happy. They said it's an evidence to show that the BBC have goofed in this report, and a lot of reaction, countless reaction on social media. And to be honest with you, we all know they've goofed on this one. So, gentlemen, let's go on a short break, and we'll be back. We'll be back. More stories to go, and thank you for being around. Thank you, viewers. This is it. Today, Friday the 13th, News Echo World Affairs, and we're here for you. Thank you.
A year ago, I wrote a book titled The Final Solution, and I was trying to say to the rest of the world that there are challenges ahead. Now, a prophecy did come, and that prophecy is coming to pass. But I'm telling you, the final solution has been found many years ago in the Bible, because the Bible simply says righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach to the people. So I want you to know that we can get solutions to problems in Ukraine, in Russia, in Nigeria, indeed all parts of the world. We need that solution, and the solution is straightforward. Please get a copy of my book. It's the Final Solution by Bishop Shegun Johnson, and you can find it in Kindle, in Amazon. Just type Bishop Shegun Johnson, The Final Solution. It will come. It's very, very small book you can read within 2 hours, but it contains the final solution. Do get a copy. Not getting it is doing disservice to you.
Hi there, I'm Mary Keurig, and I am a businesswoman in the United States, but I'm also the Global Content Vice President for the Sub-Saharan Open University in Nigeria. I could not be prouder to work with Dr. Osita Anamika and his team on helping to create not just entrepreneurs and skill-based talent that will get out into the workforce and make a living for themselves, but also young leaders. And to that end, with this integrity-rich university environment that's accredited now, and it's just an amazing opportunity for anyone there of any age to jump on board and learn, we want to let you know about a new offering that we have. We have a global governance and diplomacy course now provided by a whole team of people that crosses several countries to put together these resources and lots of great information for those of you who might be on the path toward public service and diplomatic service, NGO leadership, that sort of thing. We hope that you will walk through this open door and enjoy.
Yes. Yes, you're welcome back to News Echoes World Affairs, 13th October 2023. George, are you there?
I am here.
Good. Well, we, apart from the BBC news that goofed, on Wednesday, George, there was a very important celebration, International Girl Child Day 2023. It was on October the 11th. Each year on that day, people from around the world mark the day in an effort to raise awareness of the value of the girl child, advancing the gender equality and defending their rights. Also in Nigeria, that day was celebrated. I would have wished Bidi was here to tell us how it went. George, is the girl child in Africa being treated fairly? Is the girl child in Africa enjoying? Is she seeing the essence of living on Earth? Because I see a lot of atrocities. I see so many things that happen, and most times the girl child are the victim. George, what do you say? We missed talking that day because we didn't converge. What do you say? October 11 was the International Girl Child Day, and we are looking at the female gender, the little girls.
We've come we've come a long way internationally when it comes to that. You go to certain parts of the world today, is still a very difficult situation and difficult things to handle in regards to the girl child. It depends on where we're coming from, what religious affiliation some people might have, where they consider, girls to be non-entities, which is absolutely absurd and unacceptable. And you still see that some communities do not regard girls or give them the equal footing when it comes to guys. But we have actually seen that, when given the opportunity, any woman can be as good as any man. It doesn't matter, when it comes to intelligence and, the way they handle their businesses and things like that, or the way they handle things. So I believe that, it's a very important thing to bring awareness to set a level ground for all to prosper, both male and female. We've seen prime ministers and presidents of nations and corporations doing fantastically well. But yet, in certain developed countries, you still see that men are being paid more than women in the same particular in the same position, and expectations are still the same, but you pay men more. It used to be acceptable when women didn't used to go to work; they were housewives. Then the man is the breadwinner in the house, and then you have to pay them more because maybe they're married, they have children. And then on the other side, you don't tend to do that. But those things are now, it's age-old stories, and it's unacceptable. So, I'm glad that this being done, and this might reawaken some backward communities or some that are still feeling like, girls are not supposed to be as good. Even if when you come to our own country, you see a man might have 5 girls, but they're looking for a boy, somebody they say that will carry their name. But when you come into these families, you start seeing girls. They're the ones that actually take care of their parents, regardless whether they are in their husband's houses or not. Because when a man marries and then they start, taking care of their own family, but you see the girl leave her husband's house to come and take care of their mom and the dad and, care about them. So I believe that it's come to the time in our civilization where a level playing ground should be given to both male and female.
Thank you very much, George. Dr. Godwin, I know you're a father. A girl child being treated
of
well.
many nations.
God has given us hope and beautiful life. But are they enjoying that benefit, these privileges and life? Dr. Godwin, I hope you can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Being being a father figure to so many people, and maybe a father of many nations, I think that it's very important that girls and ladies, female in general, have gender equality, given equal opportunities, because they represent a very substantial percentage of our GDP, roughly 50%, and reducing their ability, their competence, and their merits, potential, is actually cutting off 50% of your economy. Now, apart from the economic reasons, diversity is also the spice of life. Variety is the spice of life. The way the female do their things add a variety which would not have been gotten in their absence, and a different way to look at things. So obviously, I push for gender equality, but there's always a caution to everything, to most things. Let me not say everything, not generalize, and that is the fact that we are still trying to understand the long-term implication of our drive for gender equality. One example is the rate of marriage dissolution, family breaking up, divorce rate. For example, the OECD considers Nigeria in the 10% of the worst gender unequal control, with the highest level of gender inequality. And I think that that's their opinion, that's their standard of measurement. Meanwhile, they consider US and Europe to be, top there. But then and they consider India as well to be in the lowest, ranked maybe 140 out of 160, the low 10%. Now, but when you now measure the divorce rates in these countries, you see that India has 1%, the lowest in the world. Nigeria has 13%. Portugal has 94%. UK has 45%. And then you begin to understand you've used only one criteria, one set of indicators to measure, but you haven't really understood why are families splitting up? What is the core of the society? We believe the core of the society, the priorities is self-development, family contribution, and then community, not the other way around. And anybody that advocates for the other way around is doing a very big disservice to the core of the foundation of the community and society. So we are still a long way. We push for gender equality, but we also have to be careful on how far we push and who we what else we add to the equation, so that we do not get the correlation, the strong correlation that we have today with marriage dissolution and high divorce rate.
You put it well, Dr. Godwin. I want to say that on behalf of the Schengen, even though it's a belated greetings now, but we commemorate with International Girl Child Day, and we want girl child to see herself as a vibrant color, like Dr. Godwin said, a vibrant color for diversity. We also want the government of different countries to be committed to nurturing, supporting, and empowering every girl child, providing them with the opportunity they deserve. Let's all create a world where the girl's potential is realized and she's celebrated. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That was beautiful. The Girl Child Holiday, International Girl Child Holiday 2023. So we'll move on, guys. A lot is still happening. We have a new EFCC chairman. Gentlemen, I know you're following. Yesterday, it came on the news. The EFCC is the Economic and Financial Crime Commission in Nigeria that looks into crimes. Now, the young man that was there before, Bawa, has been he's been taken off, and now there is Ola Olukoyade. Mr. Ola Olukoyade. Mr. Ola Olukoyade is a lawyer with 22-year experience. He has also served the organization. He specializes in fraud management and corporate intelligence, like his resume says. He has intensive experience in the operation of EFCC. He has served as chief of staff to the executive chairman between 2016, 2018. And he has one time been a secretary to the commission. And they say that he has fulfilled all the requirements to be appointed as the chairman of EFCC. Gentlemen, What do you say? Olaolu Koyode is the new EFCC boss, the new sheriff that is in town that will be chasing around the thieves and those that have stolen our wealth. George, Olaolu Koyode, EFCC boss.
I will congratulate him and hope
Why are you laughing?
that the status quo will be changed. Yeah, you see, because we laugh over these things, they are not laughing matters. When certain agencies and organizations, like CIA or FBI or whatever the case might be, rather than being an independent organization, just like the judicial system in Nigeria is supposed to be. But it seems like everybody is clamoring and working for the president, not being independent. So that's what the problem is. There is a lot of politicization of some of these agencies, whereby basically, if you belong to a particular political party that is in power, you don't touch certain people regardless of what they do. So these are the things that it stinks, it smells, it's not good, and I'm quite sure that that this man that is coming right now, being appointed by the president, what I'm saying is, let's have a level of integrity in the way things are done. A judge was stopped. A judge was stopped in one of the, in the United States of America. And then when the police officer discovered that it was actually a judge, the police officer said, "More is expected of you, sir. And I'm going to go all the way with this because you are supposed to be an example for us." And the case went to court and it was exposed, simply because of that. So, I know that this is far-fetched when it comes to Nigerian situation, but we need to really, when you appoint somebody like that, there ought to be, a sharing that is coming, that such an individual will come out and be different from the past. But if we have the same recycled, leadership and recycled appointment that are all just working towards the same direction, working for the same person, working for the same political party, and then, going after their opponents, and, it doesn't make any sense. I just hope that this man will not continue in the same vein that the past EFCC chairman, did.
Thank you very much. Oh, Dr. Godwin, I'll mute your mic.
Godwin is laughing as he's like, you're speaking English. What can you expect from Nigeria?
But George, what you said, it should be said. It should be said out.
Yes, of course.
We can't be fooling ourselves. Yes, the EFCC he has been established, and they should live up to their expectation. Now, we have a whole lot of spreadsheet on the former guy, Bauer, and it also involves him getting involved in crime. And this is the same man that should be fighting over crime, and he's also involved in all of this. So it's crazy what we're doing. We just deceive ourselves, waste our time, waste our resources for fruitless effort, fruitless arrangement. Dr. Godwin, Ola.
Okay, I want to say, first of all, congratulations to the EFCC chairman. I'm hailing, I'm greeting from here. I hail him, I greet him. But I want to also add that he's a pastor of Redeemed Church, City of Refuge. So Adeboye has produced another point of contact in the government. Also, I want to add that good morals is not something found in the US or in the UK, or like as if it's only there. It's found in Africa. We have common taxi drivers who return money that passengers left in the car. We have mechanics in Nigeria who have returned money that their oga left in the boot. You have good morals everywhere. It has nothing to do with this thing. It's not a thing of US or UK. After all, the cocaine that has been found in the White House, we still don't know who left it there. I mean, it's not so difficult to find. But okay, You can also say the same in Russia. You know what I mean? If you want to go into undiscovered or unsolved cases. So there's more good morals everywhere in the world as well as bad eggs, and but we know that the EFCC chairman is appointed by somebody, and he has some powers, but the powers are not unlimited, and he has to stay law in line with the goals and policies of the current administration, which is responsible for his job. So expecting him to do anything otherwise, going against the policy would lead to a Godwin Emefiele situation, right? So I think we should tailor down our expectation. But yes, there are lots you can do to improve the, or rather reduce corruption and improve the business climate, especially if you can if you can make the ease of doing business in Nigeria much better. If you can make it much easier to do business in Nigeria, that would go a long way, in attracting investors and raising up our collective standard of living in Nigeria. And I think we're all looking forward to progress. And if the global war, if it doesn't get to World War III, and if the all geopolitical powers will allow us to breathe.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Godwin. Dr. Godwin, you put it right. Gentlemen, the few minutes we have, I want us to talk on some very important, our daily lives as Nigerians, our people back home, even though we are outside, it matters. So yesterday, early this morning, CBN, Central Bank of Nigeria, lifted the FS, lifted ban on 43 items. I want us to look into those things. Those items are, Dr. Gani, can you, okay, I think I've taken it off. Those items are rice, cement, margarine, palm kernel, palm oil products, meats and processed meat products, vegetables, processed vegetable products, poultry, chicken, eggs, and turkey, Indian incense, tinned fish, cold rolled steel sheets, galvanized steel sheets, roofing sheets, wheelbarrow, headpans, metal boxes, container. Dr. Gani, can you kindly remove the other picture there? Is it possible?
No, there's no picture. There's no picture.
Okay. It's okay. Thank you. So, gentlemen, why I'm reading out this list is vital. We know this. Now, this is why it concerns us. Listen to this. In 2025, there was a policy that banned all of these products we've just mentioned.
2025?
2015, sorry. Sorry. So importers they couldn't source for cash from the FS, from the central bank directly. So what they were doing was sourcing for cash for the FX through the black market at a very high rate. Yes, now there you go. Voila, George, that's it. So that thing added to the cost of high living of the average Nigerian, high living for the masses. And now they said they've lifted this ban. I want your take on this because this is important. We cry every time, but we don't go to the root of our problems.
The root of our problems is this. Yes. Number one.
Go ahead.
Some of these items were banned simply because it was benefiting a lot of Eastern region businessmen that were importing these goods. And when they banned them, they now turned and gave up, a special monopoly to an individual to import these goods. We have seen that happen so many times. Rules and laws and regulations that stifle the Eastern region business. Let's call a spade a spade. It's been going on. When they see that there are places where some of the businessmen from the East are making money, they will go and tighten that, the belt in that area, make sure that they squeeze everything out of it so that it will benefit certain individuals. We saw it happening in Nigeria, but nobody says anything. Nobody mentions it. And you know, when these items are being banned, it's all because of a particular region. I mean, let's call it what it is. Now, thank God that it's being lifted, because some of these things, items can be can be imported. But you know what we're trying to do, if when they ban these items, that it does increase the manufacturing of those items within our country, where we are able to ship it out and get revenue from those, it will be different. But you know, we have depended, we have remained a consumer nation rather than a production nation. We don't produce nothing except for crude oil. You know, so we have so many items in Nigeria, agricultural products that can be manufactured and shipped to West African countries. But we have largely depended on this crude oil, whereby it's really stifling our economy to the place where we are on our knees today. Look at the economy of the nation. Look at what is going on simply because of money. People are no longer farming. And then you see all the, you know, the amajiris, you know, chasing people that are producing farmlands and all that. What do you expect from a country? But I thank God that finally this has been lifted. Maybe there will be an equilibrium or some kind of balance in the equation of import and export. You know, if when things are going to...
When
yes,
when these items were banned, why did we really go into self-producing these items ourselves?
exactly. I think you just pulled it out of my mind. You pulled it out of my mind. So there's a reason. Why would you need FX if you're not trying to import? Because you need hard currency to pay off things you're importing. Otherwise, if you are exporting, the buyers will pay you in naira. They will have an account in naira and ship and pay you off. It's because, and then when I look at the things they need FX for rice, for cement, you know, fertilizer, it's really, really appalling, really, really nauseating to say the least. We need to be able to improve our export capability. We need to add value chain to our raw materials, and that can help in the aspects to improve on include processing and packaging, and then adjusting to meet the standards of other geopolitical powers with huge market entry like the European Union and strict regulations. So these are areas that we need to look at. We also need to look at increasing our turnover. For example, Nigeria-Russia trade. Russia has increased its trade with Russia at an annualized, with Nigeria at an annualized rate of 15%, and Nigeria has managed just 6%. And then when you look at the total trade is like what? You're comparing 1.25 billion to something like 38 million. You understand? So can you imagine? Yes, exactly. But what do we sell? We sell cut flowers, we sell cocoa beans, we sell cut flowers, cocoa beans, and what else? What do you call this? Perfume product. But we buy back advanced petroleum product from Russia. We buy their wheat, this. But the trade there's imbalance, but it's improving, it's growing, it's good, it's on a good dynamic. But you see, they see that trading, but we are not able to export all what we have, take advantage of all we have. We are 140. We are even more than the population of Russia. We are more than Russia in population. If we can put in this thing into production, it will go a long way to balance out all these trade.
Wow, great man. Listen, I always wish we'll have more time, but the network has its timing and its time. But you guys did wonderful. You guys brought your take, and I'm so happy we were able to put to rest a lot of these discussions. This is it, viewers. News Echoes World Affairs, Friday, 13th October 2023. And I have my guys from the corners of the world. We have Dr. Godwin Ibe right there.
Okay, I think he's disconnected. Yes, so I think that'll be it for today. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Thank you, Sir George. Thanks to me. So I'll try to end the live stream. I'll see you next week, Wednesday, viewers. As usual, you catch us on Wednesdays and Fridays, as usual.
All right.